What is the purpose of this video really? To just out myself? And this microphone is dusty. But okay, today we are not aiming for perfection. Today we just wanna get the video started. This thing is gonna fall down. Hang in there, okay? I fell apart too sometime this year, but I came back, okay? All right, 1, 2, 3, action. A lot has happened to me this year. I moved back home. I know a lot of people thought I was here for vacation. Guys, life was beating me left, right, and center. But I'm not complaining. It's been a really nice rock bottom moment for me. So I disappeared from YouTube, from socials at some point, from Twitter at some point, from LinkedIn at some point. But you know, the Twitter one and the LinkedIn one is what hurt me the most. Because when I moved back home, when I received the news that, hey, you're gonna move back home, it was, should I tell you what it was? I should do a separate video about moving back home so that this video is not that. This video, I wanted to center around how I fell out of love with tech. So I received the news that I am going to move back home. Obviously, those were very devastating, frustrating news for me because I had already planned out my life and how I wanted my life to go. And then life said, niachie uyo. So when I received the news that I was going to move back home, obviously I was very devastated, frustrated for so many days, for weeks even. I was very devastated. But then I was like, you know what? I am just going to move back home. I am going to just continue creating content. I'm still going to be in love with this data thing. I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to make it. I came back home. I was very excited about this. Not excited about moving back home. Honestly, we'll unpack that in another video. Let's just focus on where I fell out of love with tech. And I had built my identity around data. I had a newsletter that had over 300 people had subscribed to that newsletter, and I used to love it so much. And that is also why I started this podcast, Data and Potatoes. I was very excited about it. I knew what I wanted to do with it, but then life happened and I moved back home, and that set me back mentally. So when I moved back home, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna shoot. Come on. I had my camera, I had my tripod, I have a ring light, which I should replace by the way, because you see this reflection thing. Anyway, so I moved back home. So when I moved back home, I had all the intention to continue creating content, be in this thing. But then because prior to me moving back home, I had already struggled to land a role and whatever. So moving back home was what now broke the camel's back. I was like, you know what? I am not going to force issues. I'm not going to try at all. I'm not going to try to create data. I'm not going to try to be a source of inspiration for anybody. I am just going to just be me. And being me is going straight back to my comfort zone and quitting everything. So I quit. And I decided that I'm not going to bother with this data thing. Started doing my other things and whatever. But the thing is, once you start something, it's always constantly in your brain. It was always in my brain. I was like, yeah, one day I'm going to come back. I just don't know when. But then I was going to come back when I feel like I'm ready. I still don't feel like I'm ready, by the way. But then sometimes you just sit down and then you just tell yourself, one life, just one life. And yeah, so obviously I had built my identity, not my real life identity, my online identity under data and tech. So if you followed me from LinkedIn or Twitter, if you've interacted there, it was because of that. So when things didn't work out for me and I had to move back home after relocating, I kind of lost it. To be really honest, I kind of lost it, and it used to be the one thing that used to make me so happy, but then it started making me really sad, and I don't like being sad because it's not cool to be sad and whatever. And do you know what the gag is? The gag is I had built a community around data, and I would talk to strangers a lot about data, and sometimes someone would just DM me and they'd be like, hey, I am prepping for this interview, could you help me? And then I help them out their interview, and then 3 months later they have a role, and then they come back and then they tell me, hey, thank you so much, blah blah blah, I have a job. Or someone tell me, okay, hey, I'm starting my data journey, could you please work with me? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And then 6 months later they come back with a positive review that they've landed their first internship or whatever. I used to have a lot of those messages, and in as much as I was really really happy for them, because two things can coexist, two truths can coexist, we are adults. I was like, I am happy for you, truly. And also, how come I'm the one dishing out this advice and it's working for people, but when I try to execute the same thing, it's not working? So what's the problem? There's even I tried to kind of land a role, which was very embarrassing actually this year. So when I got that interview, I had already given up on data. So I was like, yep, I want to be like a data analyst, but like later on in life, not just right now. So when I landed an interview this year, which I fumbled really, really bad, and I kept on feeling so bad and so sad for like forever. So what had happened was I got this interview. I got this interview to be like a data analyst and whatever. Obviously did my technicals, submitted, and then now the recruiter told me that hey, you've proceeded to the next stage of the interview, and so you have to show up on Monday for an interview to defend your answers, like to explain your thought process with the project or whatever. I was like, cool. So the entire weekend I spent time going through my questions and answers and logic and research and whatever it is. Come to find out, on Monday, that was not even what the interview was going to be. So the interview now was about other things and that I had not prepared for, and it was totally different. So I felt very blindsided during the interview, but then I was like, you know what, it's fine. It's really fine because I don't even like this thing anymore. So if I fail, it's okay. I received my regret. Did I receive my regret, or I told myself it was regret? Because I told myself, because do you see me going to work right now? No. So I told myself that I had been rejected, but that was also to be really honest, and as much as I performed very poorly in that interview, even at that very moment, I knew that I did not want that job, because part of me knew I did not want the job, but the part of me that wanted that job was a part of me that wanted to still prove to myself that, hey, you are still a data analyst, So I didn't get it, and it's okay, because for me that would have meant that I have to move out of home and go do house hunt, and at that time I did not feel like that was the best decision. We even talked about it with my mom, like we discussed it with my mom. I was like, yeah, I don't feel, even my mom was for she's like, yeah, I don't feel like moving out at this very moment is like the best thing for you. You need to stay here a bit and then figure out what you want to do with your life, and then you can go. That was like, I think that was like the first quarter. During like the first quarter, I was like, cool. So I was really feeling embarrassed. The reason was feeling embarrassed about failing that interview was because the person who vouched for me to get the interview, we had met online through data and whatever, and so I kind of felt like, oh, maybe I've failed this person. But then at some point I was like, yeah, I don't wanna be in this data thing. Basically that was that. So came home, enjoyed mango season, landed a remote role. That was crazy. I got a job. I'll also tell you about that later. So yeah, I tried to do data stuff here and there and whatever. It just wasn't happening, and they said, you know what, I'm just not gonna force issues with this thing that is not working. But at the back of my mind, I knew I wanted to be a data analyst. So, and then it happened. Here I am. So I decided that, you know what, I want to go back to data. I just gonna have to figure out what I want to do in data and what makes me really, really happy in data. So now what can you expect from me? Now, obviously I'm coming back to tech. This is my official announcement. This time around, I'm not coming back blindly. I've had time to just reflect and also take accountability of my parts, like the parts that I did wrong, whatever it is that I did wrong, because obviously life just doesn't happen to you. You also do play your part. So I know the part that I played. I'm going to explain that in future videos, just not on this video. So I know the part that I played when it comes to how my life turned out. Obviously life had its part, but also I had my own part. So one, I don't want to be general. I honestly, I'm gonna niche down. I know there's this whole talk about niching down is not best, the general is whatever. I do not care. I've tried the general way. It's a lot for me. 1 minute you're in a marketing analyst interview, the next minute you're in a financial analyst interview, the next time there's a forex company that needs you to do what, the next time you're applying for a HR analyst. I do not want that. I have decided, it has come to my attention that I don't do well in that, because my life already is too general. I'm already good at so many other things. So this one area, which is tech, I'm just gonna niche down. So I decided that I want to be a financial analyst because that's the field that now gets me alive the most. I've decided that I want to do CFA. I'm gonna be enrolling. I'm gonna check the enrollment dates, but the next available one, that's the one that I'm going to enroll in. I want to be a financial analyst. I just want to be in finance. I'm going to be a data analyst, that's for sure, in finance. So that's what I'm going to be doing. About relocation, might or might not be relocating. Let's see how that goes. I'm pretty much excited about this last quarter. Obviously I'm locking in when it comes to content. That's why I'm here. I'm bringing back my TikTok. I'm bringing back the YouTube videos. So for this video, I just wanted to let you know that if you've fallen out of love with anything, not a person. About a person, I mean, love has no champion. Apple, I can't help you. But if you've fallen out of love when it comes to your career, force yourself to find it back. Because even me, when you're seeing me, it's not like I've fallen in love with it again. It's just that I've made a conscious decision now that I am an adult, I'm in charge of my life. Rude. And now I have to get back up. I mean, yeah, sure, life didn't work out. I moved back home. I am sorry to myself. I've had time to go through that. But then at some point, life has to keep on going. So if you've fallen out of love with whatever it is that you're doing, your career and whatever, I hope you force. I'm not going to say, I hope you find love once again. No, you're not going to do that. You're not going to find love. I know, shocker. You just have to gotta work on getting your spark back. So the same way I did, because trust me, I felt like I needed to procrastinate because like, oh my god, my hair is not done. I need a different shirt. I need a different setup so that I can get it done. But then I said, you know what? I'm just gonna make it work with this cap. So I hope you find your cap too and you make it work, Fake deep. That is fake. But yeah, I'm gonna be telling you more about, if you're interested in that kind of stuff. But are you interested in knowing about my rock bottom? My rock bottom was lit. I am not clearing any rumors unless they say I was suffering in my rock bottom. No. I am telling you without fear of contradiction, I was cruising nicely. Obviously, it has its downs, and the ups were really upping. The downs were really down too, but the ups were like really, really, really upping. I should do an episode of my rock bottom moments. Let me know if you're interested in that kind of stuff. And I remember I was sitting in a room thinking, if I knew at the end of the day I was just gonna move back home just like that, should have posted more. To be really honest, I should have had fun more. And that's what I'm telling you. And what I want to tell you right now is, you might be going through something and you think it's the worst thing ever, but one thing's for sure, two things for certain: after it's over, because it's gonna be over, spoiler alert, you're gonna regret not having fun. So I'm telling you, right there, in your lowest moment, in your rock bottom moment, I hope you find a chance to have fun. Because for me, mine was lit. Mine was so lit. That's why it's hard for me to explain to someone that I was really going through it, because they can't believe it. Nilikuwa nimewacha mimi. I was like, oh no, kuacha, like, it's not like not suicide or anything. Excuse me, I have funny friends. I can't wake up and decide that I want to die. All my friends are funny. So every time I feel hopeless, I just call one friend. They tell me a joke and life is worth living again. Recommend funny friends. And yeah, thanks for watching this video, and I hope you stick around and support me. And also I hope you stick around long enough to see what happens when you don't give up, because I am sticking around for sure. So I hope you do stick around and see your own story. So yeah, so tell your friends to pull up, because we are now back.